This is Ricky from Project Attraction, and today we're going to talk about how to deal with flaky numbers and bitchy women at the bar. Flakes can be obnoxious when you're first starting out and you're like trying to get successful with women, especially when you get a good result and you're getting in a conversation with a girl and it seems like she's giving you like positive vibes and you're like, oh, this is really working out. And then you're like, oh, let me get your phone number, like let's hang out, or you go on a date and you maybe can like pull her home to have sex, so you're like, oh, let's hang out again. Or you're like, oh, maybe even you guys do hook up, but then like you don't hear back from her when you text her to hang out. But the major thing about this is a lot of guys, it bothers them a lot because you're taking it personally. You're letting it affect your ego. When really you gotta understand that like girls are like everyone else. They have their own decisions. They have busy lives. And honestly, you don't need to know the why of why they're not calling you back. What you need to do, though, is focus on what you can control. Now, what can you control? You can make your interactions better so that you're more memorable for the girl. Are you being funny and just having fun with the girl the first night you meet her, or are you just going for the phone number and immediately moving on? That's a problem I had is when I was out, I'd get phone numbers from girls, and then I'd be like, oh, cool, like she gave me her phone number, that's like, she's totally into me, and then I wouldn't hear back from them. Well, you gotta understand, it's not just me asking for a phone number that night, there's like 5 other guys doing it, but what's gonna like make her decide whether to text you back or not was like how memorable you were. If you were that guy that like those 5 steps I talked about, being like showing intent, leading, being physical, or were you just asking for a phone number and she's like, oh, I don't want to make this socially awkward, so I'll just give it to him and then not text him back. So really ask yourself that. Even when you go on a date, are you having a fun date? When you pull a girl home for sex, was your sex game good? Were you having good sex where she's like, oh, I want to go back to this guy because we had fun and he fucked me amazingly? So really think about that and focus on what you can control. And you got to understand that you're always going to get flicks, no matter how good you get, no matter how awesome of a guy you are or start to become through like growing and developing yourself. You're always going to get that girl that maybe she just doesn't realize what she had. Like she was just like, oh, fuck it, like it wasn't okay. And oh well, it saves you the time of having to chase something that's not right for you. And then you can focus on the girls that are actually into you and actually want to chase you and like you. So really remember that the next time you get a flake is just like, what could I have done better? And just move on from there. Don't let it, don't identify with it, or don't like attach it to your ego. It's like, oh, I'm a horrible person. I think that was what was really hard when you're first starting out and you're not getting as many results, is you just get frustrated. You're just like, gosh, why don't these girls like me? And it's like, honestly, just focus on what you can control and then move on from there. Now on the next topic of how to deal with bitchy girls at the bar. I really, as I was making this video, I was trying to figure out how to break this down, because there's really more than one reason. It's not just the girls being a bitch, because if she is a bitch, then just move on. Like if she's just being mean to you, rude, and she just, I mean, maybe the girl just came out and she's just having a bad day, but her friend dragged her out to like the club or the bar, and so she's just in a bad mood. You gotta move on from that. But there's also girls that are just kind of aggressive in nature. There's like girls that almost act like guys. Like you'll notice that they just have like almost like a masculine energy to them, or a masculine tone, and so you have to like kind of acknowledge this and realize like, oh, this is just the way they communicate. Like I was even saying that I was telling one of my friends that like I have this friend, and the way he communicates to me, he like texts me like motherfucker, or it's like very an aggressive tone. And it's not that, at first I used to get offended. I'm like, dude, what the fuck, like just chill out. But then I started realizing this is just the way he like communicates. And actually, like when I gave it back to him, he'd be like, what address are we going to for this party? And like just like cuss, be like motherfucker, and like all this aggressiveness. But then when I'd be like, check your phone, bitch, I already gave it to you, he'd be like, oh, okay, and back off. And I gave him the same level of like aggressiveness. And so I've started like come up with this rules, like basically however anyone ever talks to you, especially if it's an aggressive tone, you can kind of give that back to them. So if a girl's like giving you shit for stuff and maybe like saying like you're a dick and like just kind of calling you out on things, or like kind of undercutting you a little bit, you can kind of talk to them in that same frequency back to them, and they can't. It's kind of like giving I think RSD Alex talks about like repressing fire, and it's like you're giving it back to him and showing that you're standing your ground. So you're not backing off and being like, oh, I'm sorry, which is gonna like kill the attraction level, but it's also like standing your ground and showing that like, hey, like, oh, you want to talk like this? Well, if you can dish it out, then you can take it. So just remember, when a girl's talking to you in a more aggressive tone, that's just the way that she communicates, and almost treat it like it's no big deal. Like just treat it like it's some girl that doesn't know how to like communicate with people properly. You can even laugh at it, you can give it back to her, but just try not to back off about it and be like, oh, I'm sorry, because then you're gonna put her in a more dominant frame. There's also, I call it the ball buster of the group. So usually when you're in a group of girls and you're talking, there'll be one that will like kind of try to like make fun of you or say some like little undercutting thing. It's not like, it's usually pretty harmless or whatnot, but she'll kind of just like try to call you out on something. And it's usually like the mama bear of the group, or I call her the ball buster, and she's just kind of testing you, and she's like the one that like keeps all the girls safe in the group at night. Like usually they go out, and it's the one that's like kind of, she's usually like the sober one or whatnot. She's just making sure all her friends aren't like gonna go home with like these assholes that like are just gonna like ruin their friends' lives or whatever, or just like be a total dick, and then her friend comes running to him and is like, oh, he fucked me and then he won't call me back, or like they don't want to have to deal with any drama, so they're trying to keep their friends safe. So they're just calling you out and just seeing what type of guy you are, and if you just show that you're a genuine guy, even if you are an asshole but you're just a genuine guy, they're like, okay, this guy's cool, he's being genuine, he isn't doing anything shady, he isn't trying to do anything that would like harm my friends, and I don't have to worry about him. So usually with girls like that, I actually become friends with them because I like really quippy girls or like witty girls like that, or like ball busters, because it makes the interaction for me more, it makes my brain more engaged, so I enjoy that. So I usually come out and like I usually call them out. I'm like, you're the ball buster of the group, and they're like, yeah, and they start laughing because they know what they're up to, they know what they're doing. So when you call them out on it, they kind of like, oh, this guy is socially smart, he's a cool guy. And so usually you can kind of befriend them, even if if you're attracted to them or if you're attracted to their friend, you can befriend them, and so it makes the interaction go way more smoothly. So these are just some pointers. I thought I'd shoot a video, and I hope this helps and you get some tips that helps you out when you're out in the clubs and bars hitting it up hard and trying to get those girls' numbers. And just remember not to take it personally, and just have fun with it. And just remember that dealing with bitchy girls and flakes is all kind of part of the process, and it's what hardens you as a man. Like dealing with those tough things is what's gonna like build character in you, because there's not just one way of like handling any situation, but really going through these hard things and dealing with a girl that is a total bitch to you, and she may even just like shut you down. If you go back out, you're gonna have to grow as a person and build character and figure out how to deal with people like that, because even though this is how to get like dates and how to like fuck girls and get girlfriends and whatnot, you're really gonna have to deal with these type of difficult people throughout your life and work and whatever. So you really have to get used to like, how do I deal with people in these hard social situations. I hope this helps. Till next time.